Finally, the NBA awards occurred, and we got to find out centuries later who was the NBA MVP. Russell Westbrook takes home the MVP award. And
congrats to James Harden for coming runner-up. I mean, just fantastic accomplishment.
Finishing second. It wasn't even close.
Oh, wow.
And what's so amazing about this is we did the clip in April. There's a couple points that need to be made because Twitter is just wrong about a few things.
Twitter in general?
It's wrong about a few things in terms of like when a lot of these guys voted. Like some people think that the media members who have a vote voted after the NBA Finals, and I think over 90%, as noted by most of their tweets, saying my vote was submitted around the end of April, so before the NBA playoffs even began. And it is a regular season award, and you could of course debate over Kawhi, LeBron probably being the MVP, Russell Westbrook, James Harden. It's a good debate. There is no correct answer. I wanted Westbrook to win. I thought he was going to win because of the record, because of the triple doubles, because of how good the Thunder played when he got to those points. And also, truthfully, no knock on James Harden. I think Russell Westbrook's a good MVP for the league.
Yeah.
He is one of the most exciting players that we've seen. And I really think he strikes a resemblance, not in style, but in just overall character to Allen Iverson, who was another.
Just happens to be right behind you.
Right behind us, without cornrows. AI, who, in a similar vein when he won his MVP award. Should it have been AI? Possibly. Could have been Shaq that year. Probably should have been Shaq that year, but no one's taken away from Allen Iverson. So it wasn't close. It wasn't even close. And we did the clips in April, in May, when we saw that there was some polls and votes, and I guess like 538 did with the election. That's where they were polling this information from some of the writers who had votes, and they were all in favor of James Harden winning the MVP. And that poll was wrong.
Yeah.
It was very, very wrong.
Yeah, I mean, I said James Harden. I mean, I come from it, as you guys know, from a background that's very used to an MVP being chosen based on, yes, accolades, statistics backed up often by accolades, by taking a team to something that has never either been obtained before or a position that is just so superior. There's going to be arguments every year that players are more valuable to that team. But when you start to look, like every team in the NBA has a valuable player that if you take them off the team, they probably suffer a catastrophic downfall. You take Giannis away from the Bucks, Jason stated before, I think they become
fear the deer.
Horrible.
Fear the deer.
But so you just have to try and find a way to just make that answer right for whoever's making the decision, because you're so right in the fact that there's no right answer. Because you can make the argument for everyone else. I thought it was going to be James Harden simply because the way I categorize MVPs in my head is, what are they doing for the team? Are they taking the team to the next level in comparison to what other players are doing almost on their own? James Harden elevated that team and pushed the Spurs to a series that many people didn't expect to be that close because of the way he played that year. And of course, I think it's a testament to the coaching. D'Antoni won Coach of the Year. So yeah, that's part of it. But when you can't argue against Russell Westbrook either, because they lost arguably their best player between both of them. And that team had every right to just completely collapse and just be horrible. But he was able to, in a way, maintain them as a competitive team, except against the Golden State Warriors when they played against them at any point. But when he was on, and he was averaging a triple-double, what was his facts? Like the team as a whole were like...
10. Oh, when he averaged a triple-double, because they were much better.
I don't
know the numbers on the top of my head, but like there's no knock on it. When he averaged when he had a triple-double in the regular season games, they won games.
Yeah.
When he didn't, they didn't win games. And of course, you're looking at the comparison. You're like, James Harden had debatably the single greatest offensive season in the history of the National Basketball Association. So like, there's the knock on Westbrook. He turned the ball over. Or Westbrook did, or Harden turned the ball over a ton? Westbrook turned the ball over 45,000 times during the NBA season, and he was wildly inefficient in his shooting. Okay, James Harden doesn't play defense, and he doesn't play defense to the level that Russell Westbrook does, and both of them necessarily aren't great defenders. But the point being is, for everything you want to take away from Westbrook and give to a Harden or a Kawhi, you can take away from a Kawhi or a Harden and give to Westbrook in terms of these debates. It's just never been this many clear cut that should be the MVP candidate.
Well,
usually there's like one or two.
Yeah, I never even give air to those arguments about the turnovers, simply because when you are that forefront player and you are giving the rock every single time almost, then yeah, when you try to do certain things, it's not always going to work out. There's going to be turnovers. There was a statistic that came out a few years back. It was mind-blowing. Lionel Messi had one of the lowest pass completion rates of Barcelona.
But it's like the highest usage percentage.
The highest usage when he's able to follow through, because he was giving the ball so much, and at that certain point in the season when those statistics were ran, he was giving it away a lot of the time. But he was also, he wasn't deserving of being the best player of all time. So, but the thing is, there's a case to be made for Westbrook, but there's also that case that I just like to remind everyone at any point. I was having a conversation with the guy last night that I was watching.
J.R.
Smith. Yeah, it's like when there is no downfall that would be as spectacular as that of the Cleveland Cavaliers if you took LeBron James off of them. That's why LeBron James, in my opinion, has been the NBA as MVP for the past, 6 years, 7 years, and they're never going to give him it that much. They need to find a way.
We need new rules for
when you say MVP, most valuable player. I've always, because that's a new term to me as well. We don't say MVP. I like it. I embrace it. It's a cool chant.
No, we need the Ballon d'Or is the person. What's the Ballon d'Or? It comes from the name what? What is the?
It's some French thing.
We need the Ballon.
But it technically is like the most valuable player. But our rules are so set in place. It's like it's either Messi or Ronaldo. No, I'm joking. It's set in place as in, like, what did you do that year that just allowed you and your team to just completely be separate.
But if it were voted like that, LeBron would have 9 of the last 10 trophies. All right, really quick to get through some of this. I actually want to go to the last element of the B elements, Ja'Cory, because Bill Russell gave the greatest 10-second speech in the history of speeches. He actually he won the first inaugural Lifetime Achievement Award. Bill Russell, the stats are astounding. 11 championships in 13 years in the NBA. He was a player coach, all that stuff. But he gets the award, and he's giving it from Dikembe and Shaq and who else was up there? Lonzo Mourning. Like, these are some of the best basketball players, some of the best big men of all time. And this is what he had to say.
I would kick your ass.
That's amazing. That's the best acceptance speech I've ever seen. Defensive Player of the Year was Draymond Green. The only other option would have been, I thought, Rudy Gobert. But there was some. I'll do it in a different clip at some point, man. What the F does LaMarcus Aldridge doing on this Defensive Player of the Year vote? Also, Isaiah Thomas got a Defensive Player of the Year, like, 3rd place vote, which is the most asinine thing I've ever heard. Pull that person's voting rights. You gotta. It's not a fair thing. Robert Covington finishes above LeBron James defensively, which, no knock on Robert Covington, he's not better at defending in basketball than LeBron is. I shouldn't say that. Kawhi, there was a case for, but not as much as Draymond Green and Rudy Gobert. Gobert alone was a huge reason as to why teams could not score in the paint against the Jazz and why they ended up being the 5 seed. The Clippers were actually the 4, but they finished with the same record. But Draymond Green's defense is on an entirely different level. And he was able to turn those into points consistently throughout this year. Giannis gets most improved, which is awesome, and that's
I always feel like most improved is kind of insulting. Like, I used to always say this and when I grew up, whenever anyone get the most improved, it was just a way of saying, you used to be shit, and now you're not that shit. Like, so when it comes to Giannis, that's not even close. Like, this is a guy that is a freak player who's just become even more of a freak. So I think something like most improved should be like,
you got a little bit better.
Like McAdoo. What's his name? Not McAdoo. What's his name again?
McEnroe.
No.
We're getting to that later.
I'll pick this up. What's his name? The one that's always JaVale McGee.
The JaVale McGee Award?
Yeah, give it to him because he's like, all right, Shaq's been ripping you for so long, now you get most improved.
Do you know what's absurd? And you can comment below on who you thought the MVP was. I will not be looking in that comment section. I don't even want to know. McEnroe. They didn't give out the Austin Rivers Award. And it's absurd. Like, they should be giving out the Austin Rivers. The inaugural NBA award should have. I've already had 2. Next year we get to have our 3rd. I'm going to make a statue of Austin Rivers.
What do you think of Drake as host? Do you think he did a good job?
I actually thought he did a very good job. And Kenny Smith actually said, man, these jokes are pretty good. Did he write them? And then Drake came out and said, that's funny coming from the most expendable person in the NBA on TNT crew.
That's true.
No, he was good. He was actually really good. And I knock on Drake all the time. But I think he should do it every year, actually. I think
Every year?
Yeah, why not? He's kind of like this. Yeah, why not? Why not? Why not?
Well, he is the NBA's biggest fan.
Why
he
not?
does wear his Raptors shirt with his Lakers pants and his Boston Celtics socks.
Why not?
And he's...
Why not? All right, comment below. Blah, 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 blah.